Today, on this opportunity to accumulate health, we are discussing mouth taping and why I have suggested it to so many patients over the years, just to experiment, see what it does for you. Do you get benefits? And, if you've ever been on an airplane, I think most of us have these days, and looked around at the people who've fallen asleep, you may have noticed that virtually all of them, maybe even you, are just laying there with their mouths, gaping wide open. And I think, as is the case with so many things these days related to health especially, is that just because that is the predominant state of the industrialized human, laying their mouth wide open, it does not mean it is normal, and surely it is not ideal. It is not the ideal state. So this is where placing a piece of tape vertically over your lips could come in really handy. Maybe you don't start doing it on an airplane. Maybe you do it in the confines of your own bedroom. But for definition's sake, mouth taping is basically the practice of putting tape over your mouth in order to keep yourself from breathing through your mouth during sleep, as a way to basically promote nasal breathing. And I thought today I'd go over 5 reasons that you may want to experiment with mouth taping for yourself, because it could change your life. So number 1 is mouth taping. It can improve your sleep quality, nasal breathing specifically. When you breathe through your nose, basically you improve the sleep quality because you are promoting a more efficient oxygen exchange, and the air coming in is being hydrated by your nostrils before it reaches your respiratory system. So many people will notice significant reductions in snoring, even apnea episodes, when they start mouth taping because they were previously a chronic mouth breather. Number 2 is it improves your immune function. The nose and sinuses, they're overlooked nonstop as this big old immune reservoir. And one part of that is the fact that they produce significant amounts of nitric oxide. Now, nitric oxide plays a crucial role in local host defense, basically meaning it helps neutralize pathogens that would have potential to go deep into our respiratory tract, lead to pneumonias, bronchitis, these lower respiratory tract infections and inflammation. So it's interesting to consider, but there was a time not too long ago where there was this pathogen that goes by a C as its first letter, that was transmitted via respiratory droplets, that led people to wearing masks, everywhere they went, inside, outside, running, swimming, you name it. However, the wearing of masks themselves led people to opening their mouth and breathing through their mouth nonstop because of the difficulty of pulling air through their nasal passage, through the mask. So unfortunately, this promoted or increased the risk of lower respiratory tract infections. So we really have to be careful sometimes how we take, these across the board total health mandates. Sorry, that was just a side there. All right, the third thing is it helps calm people down. It'll calm you down. Nasal breathing activates the parasympathetic nervous system. We have 2 parts of our nervous system. There's the 2 parts of our autonomic part. There's the sympathetic nervous system. That's the fight or run from the bear part. And there's the parasympathetic, which is, we call it rest, relax, create, digest part. And when we sleep with our mouth, wide open, mouth breathing, we're sleeping in a state of duress. Our body is literally in a fight or flight mode all night long. For our body, this is like sleeping in a war zone, as it's stuck in a state of, oh my goodness, what's going to happen next? That's our nervous system's thinking, even though our eyes are closed and we just laid on our back, for the last 7 or 8 hours. So for so many, this could be why they're, there's the triggered, feeling easily triggered, or, depressed state, panic attacks, high blood pressure, just kind of feeling on edge all the time, simply as an effect of mouth breathing. On the other hand, say you start mouth taping and now you are nasal breathing. For those 7,680 breaths you took over about 8-hour period of sleep, with each breath, you are promoting a state of deep relaxation, contrary to the mouth breathing, which is a state of hyper awareness. You're allowing the body and your mind to truly reset itself and get ready for this next day ahead. All right, the next one is the oral health benefits. Hope this one hits home. So saliva, it's our best friend. When it comes to teeth health, gum health, and when we're mouth breathing, the air dries out our mouth. There's no filter, there's no humidification like there is to the nasal passage. So air comes in, boom, dries everything up. And a dry mouth, it increases cavities, increases gum disease, and the most dreaded of all, halitosis, also known as bad breath. So on top of that, many people have noticed that their jaw clenching and their teeth grinding also decrease when they start nasal breathing. I think this is most likely from the fact that you're creating that parasympathetic state in the body, that rest relaxation state via the nasal breathing. And jaw clenching, teeth grinding, these are generally a way for the body to actually clear or try to get rid of the stress and angst that it's under and it's feeling. Nasal breathing, it can do it without destroying your teeth, destroying your jaw in the process. All right, the next and final one is, just everything becomes better, more efficient. If we sleep better, we perform better in life. If we get less, respiratory infections, we enjoy life more. If we're an athlete and we have trained ourselves to nasal breathe, via those thousands of breaths, like I said, 7,000 plus breaths a night while sleeping, then we can expect to perform better in our athletic endeavors. For instance, there's this 2018 study showing that they did on runners and showing basically it increased their proficiency via when they nasal breathing, they increased their running proficiency, and they increased their respiratory efficiency, and they were able to maintain a superior balance of oxygen coming in and carbon dioxide being displaced and being sent out. So basically, their running became less challenging because they could utilize oxygen more efficiently, which enhances endurance and your numbers get better, right? So mouth taping, it is a great first step if you want to just let me get my health routine going. Let's start mouth taping. Let's start supporting nasal breathing. When I first started mouth taping, I just took a piece of 3M micropore paper tape just from my office, put it across my lips. Actually, I put it horizontally initially. Started reading a book in bed, and then just let my mind get in the book, get out of the fact that there's a piece of tape on my mouth that I can't breathe through my mouth anymore. And after about 20 minutes, that was just fine. I've just been breathing my nose the whole time. Put the book aside, went to bed, and it took about 2 weeks for me to finally get where I was able to sleep through the night without ripping that piece of tape off, unbeknownst to myself, literally in dream world, ripping the piece of tape off while I was sleeping. But I found that, man, I had so much saliva showing up in my mouth. My mouth is like a river now, and my nasal passages were just so clear every morning I'd wake up, and I felt man, I just feel better on a daily basis when I'm nasal breathing, from mouth taping versus I think I was kind of like a half and half. Sometimes I'm mouth breathing, sometimes I'm nasal breathing. So years later, it's still a regular part of my nighttime routine, and I actually feel very awkward mouth breathing now. And I have countless patients, because I'm sure I've told at least 1,000, if not more, patients, or suggested, or we've made it part of their routine, where they start mouth taping now. So the mouth taping industry can thank me. All right, but give it a try if you haven't already tried. I'd love to know your experience and how it has been for you, different health things that seem to have gotten better because you became a chronic nasal breather. All right, be sure to like, subscribe, send this to your friends. It could help them a whole lot.